Hello and welcome to this video on control fallback for TA Smart. During this training we will learn what is control fallback, how to apply it on TA Smart, and see a live example of control fallback in action. Depending on its configured control source, TA Smart can receive its set point either via an analog input signal or via the bus. When configured correctly, TA Smart is able to detect when there has been a failure of the control signal, giving one of two errors. Error 2. Analog input line signal broken or controller restarting. When TA Smart is set to either 2 to 10 volt DC or 4 to 20 milliamp analog control input signal, it will trigger this error when the input signal detected falls below either 1 volt DC or 2 milliamps. Error 23. Bus cyclic control timeout, e.g. cabling issues or a controller stall. When enabled, TA Smart will trigger this error when the time elapsed since the last refresh of the set point over the bus is longer than the configured time. Control fallback allows the users to define what set point the TA Smart must take when either of these two errors are triggered, i.e. when there is a failure of the control signal from the BMS. I will now guide you through the process of setting up control fallback on the TA Smart. In the configuration menu, navigate to Control Settings. Currently, this TA Smart is set up with an analog control source of 0 to 10 volts DC. Therefore, control fallback is not available. For the purpose of this demonstration, we are going to set up the TA Smart with a control source via the bus. We can now see with control source via bus that the control fallback menu is available. Before setting fallback, let's look at the bus configuration. To enable control fallback, cyclic control timeout must be enabled. The cyclic control timeout is the period after which the TA Smart will raise error 23 if it has not received a refresh of set point. It is recommended that this interval is set to over 2 times the interval to which the bus is written to in order to prevent unnecessary error triggering. Now, let's have a look at the control fallback menu. With control fallback, we have the option to configure as either fixed or scheduled. With scheduled fallback, we can create a schedule with up to 4 different settings per day we wish to fall back to. For now, we will show the configuration to a fixed setting, meaning regardless of the time, we will always fall back if we receive error 2 or error 23 to the same setting. Here we can see the fallback set point we wish to apply. This set point is in relation to the currently configured maximum set point of the TA Smart. Notice how also the resulting fallback set point is shown based upon the valve's configuration. Finally, there is a fallback delay enabled to ensure that fallback does not apply if there is only a short break in the control input. Now, my TA Smart has been configured correctly for control fallback. In the next section, we can see fallback in action. We will now see control back live in action on a valve that has been set up with line break detection with 2 to 10 volts DC. Currently, the analog input signal is 6 volts and the valve is delivering a flow of 50% of the design according to its configuration. Now, watch what happens when we simulate a line break and the input voltage drops below 1 volt. We can see straight away that an error has been detected. This is error 2, line break detection. After the configured delay, control fallback applies itself, in this case to 40%, and the valve will sit at 40% of its setting in the control fallback setting. Once normal input signal has been retained, the fallback position will stop. As you can see, we are now receiving an input voltage of 4 volts and the valve setting is being controlled via the input signal once more. Let's see that happen again. Error has been detected. If we look at the current error status, we can see we have error 2, input line break. And the valve has again gone into control fallback. When the voltage returns on the input signal, normal control resumes. In summary, control fallback is used to define a set point the TA Smart must take when there is a failure of the control signal via the BMS. Control fallback is only available when using the 2 to 10 or 4 to 20 milliamp control signal or with control via bus. We can configure the setback as either fixed or scheduled with up to 4 different set points per day of the week.